Once upon a time, in the Igbo lands, there lived a young woman named Adanna. She was gentle in spirit, kind in heart, and very beautiful in her own quiet way. Her husband Obinna was the pride of his people, tall, handsome, and admired in every maiden in the village. He was not just admired, by the way, he was adored. Girls often brought him baskets of fruits, bowls of steaming soup, and plates of young pottage. Some even washed his clothes by the river. Others lingered by his path just to catch his smile. Everyone believed that one of them would surely become his wife. But Obinna surprised them all. He journeyed to a very far away land and returned with Adanna as his bride. This decision shook the village. Whispers spread like wildfire. Why her? Why not one of us? The women of the village burned with jealousy, their hearts heavy and very bitter. And among them, none felt the sting more deeply than Nneka. She had secretly loved Obinna for years, believing she would one day stand by his side, yet she never revealed her feelings. Instead, she hid her envy behind a smile, drew closer to Adanna, and she became her friend, like a sister, her confidant, her sister in the new land. But in the quiet corners of her heart, Nneka's jealousy grew like fire without water. Adanna, on the other side, was innocent and full of love. She knew nothing of this storm. She loved her husband very deeply, and his family welcomed her warmly. To her, life was beautiful, though the seeds of betrayal had already been sown. Several months passed, and Adanna bore a son. The day of his birth was filled with joy and wonder. When the midwives raised the child to the light, gasps filled the heart. His skin was very dark as midnight, yet his eyes glowed bright blue, shining like the river under the moonlight. Word spread swiftly through the village. What kind of a child is this? People whispered. Some refused to look at him, while others murmured that such eyes could only mean a curse. The women who once envied Adanna now avoided her, turning their backs when she passed. During this time, only Nneka remained so close, comforting her and pretending to care. She carried water for her, laughed with her, and whispered soothing words. But in her heart, envy deepened, for the child's strange beauty only reminded her of the husband she desired but she could never have. Then sorrow came like a thief in the night. The boy with the blue eyes grew weak, suddenly and without any warning. His breathing slowed, his glow dimmed, and by dawn he was gone. The cries of grief filled the compound. Adanna wept bitterly. Obinna tore his wrapper, and the wails of the women echoed across the hearts. They tried again for another child, but her womb remained silent. Broken and desperate, Adanna turned to the only friend she trusted, Nneka. She poured out her sorrow, not knowing the cruel truth. Nneka was the hand behind her suffering. By the night, while the village slept, Nneka used to steal Adanna's clothes and used pads. She crept to the fields, dug small holes among the cassava plants, and buried the used pads, whispering curses into the soil. With each burial, she tied Adanna's womb in silence. Nneka no longer wished only to rob Adanna of children. She wanted her gone forever, so she could claim Obinna for herself. One moonlit night, Adanna stepped out of her heart heavy with sorrow. As she walked into the quiet compound, she saw a shadow moving stealthily across the farm. It was Nneka. Clutching Adanna's clothes and used pads, she crept into the cassava field. There, she dug a hole and began her darkest ritual. Not for her barrenness this time, but for her death. Adanna followed silently, hiding behind the cassava stalks. Her eyes widened in horror as she watched her friend whisper curses meant to end her life. But then, Grief turned into courage. She cried out into the night, her scream piercing the village like thunder. The villagers awoke and rushed out with torches. And there, in the fields, Nneka was caught red-handed, her hands in the soil, her face twisted with shame. The elder of the village commanded the earth to be dug. One by one, the villagers unearthed the buried clothes and the used pads. Gasps filled the night as smoke rose from the cursed ground. The women wailed in anger. The men shouted in disbelief. The people beat their chests, cursing Nneka's wickedness. The elder raised his staff and said, "You shall never set foot in this land again. Your name will only be remembered in shame, Nneka." Nneka was driven into the darkness, her tears swallowed by the night. That night, Adanna's sorrow turned into strength. She had uncovered the truth, and the village now honored her for her courage. Though the boy with the blue eyes was gone, his memory lived on, not just as a strange child, but as a symbol of truth revealed. The elder of the village blessed this couple again and told them that they could have a kid again. Few months later, Adanna was blessed with the fruit of the womb. The villagers this time celebrated them in open air. The tale of Adanna teaches that envy destroys, that betrayal hides in smiles, and that the truth cannot remain buried forever.